Alrighty, guys. Welcome back to the second recording for the UI UX side and how it pairs with software engineering. I do have two people with me today from our group, Haru and Masood. They're both in a UI UX program, um, which will be perfect because it's not just me talking to myself like it was in the first video. I'll be able to actually bounce some stuff off everybody. So. With that being said, yeah, today's on UI UX, how it pairs with software engineering. This one is for every devs who's ever pushed code and thought, why does it feel so, why does this feel off to use? Or, uh, or handed off a component and watched the designer completely reimagine it. UI UX isn't just a designer's job. As engineers, uh, understanding design thinking changes the way you build. It makes you a better collaborator, a better problem solver, and more hireable dev. Um, so first, let's start with what UI UX actually means for software engineers. Before I kind of, I would say for me, it would, as I was telling Masood, when we were first talking about this, I first originally thought that it was just like, oh, your job's just to make things pretty. Um, But it's so much more than that. It's not just making things pretty. It's really, making the user happy, understanding why the user's having issues using apps that a coder might not necessarily see because the flow works differently in their head. Um, and it's really just bringing simplicity and a great layout and beautiful designs all into one. At least that's what it means to me. And I truly understand how hard their jobs are with some of the apps that I've been building. And I'm going to go through some of the code jams that I've done to kind of illustrate, how the design process has kind of been evolving for me as a software engineer. Um, with that being said, what does UI UX mean for you, Haru?
Uh, by the way, thank you so much for letting us join you for this recording. And UI UX design for me in particular is uh, a way for a designer to be analytical and creative in order to be like a bridge for the users and the business, because we interact with the users in that way because design is everywhere. I mean, even in the physical world, like someone designed your mouse for you and someone designed the signs you see in the freeway. So I feel it's still like a human aspect. So it's like utilizing the needs of the user and translating it over into design. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a great way to explain it. What about you, Masood?
So for me, UI UX is a joint passion, first of all, I would say, when technology meets design. And then, second of all, I would say designing the best experience for the user by reducing their cognitive load, empathizing with them, really understanding them, getting deep into what's going through their mind, and then designing the ultimate product for them.
Yeah, very well said. Yeah, I mean it's taking component thinking, wireframe translation, design systems, and um, really just putting it into play for everybody here. UI, what users are seeing, UX, how it feels to use. They just come together and they make a perfect team. How design systems and component thinking work in real code bases. Um, yeah, absolutely.
If I would like to add to Masood just published an article in his LinkedIn, and it kind of made me start thinking a little bit more. Um, I was trying to find my role in how I can fit myself as a UI UX designer. So it kind of came to mind that it's sort of like an event planner. You know, the user's experience is supposed to be smooth, and you're supposed to take them on the journey of whatever the app is, or application, or desktop website they need to go through in order to accomplish what they need to, whatever task or whatever problem that needs to be solved. So I feel like it's the UX part is all the details, all the planning. You know, no one really knows the background of what's going on in the kitchen, or how many guests were involved, or the seating and everything like that. And the UI part is what people see on the front stage. So I feel like just like Masood said, that it's an experience, but also there's so much more going on in the background.
Yeah, no, that absolutely. I
I love
absolutely
the
agree with
event
that.
planner description, by the way.
Thank you.
Could I add a part for this experience and cognitive load section?
Yeah,
I have
please.
an
Yeah, please do.
example
I'm
to
I'm
say.
I'm getting things worked on over here on my side for the next topic. So absolutely, please keep going.
Right. So recently I was exploring the menu page for a cafe in our area that has opened up recently. So if we were to explain a bit more about cognitive load to to the ones who are watching. So when you get into a website, when you're planning to do something, it could be shopping, it could be product exploration, and so on. Like when you have cognitive load, you like it's like you're becoming stressed. You don't know what to do, you don't know where to click, and so on. For example, if you are within the food or drink section, let's handle drinks in this case. If you're in the drinks section within the cafe's menu, you can see different options right in front of you. For example, you have your lattes, you have your macchiatos, espressos, and so on. But within those options, you see one item specifically. It says coffee flavors. Like, doesn't this option bring confusion amongst people? Like, in my opinion. Like, when you say coffee flavors, you have the flavors within the different types of drinks. Like, when you have macchiato, you can have caramel macchiato. And when you have mochas, you can have white chocolate mochas and regular mochas, right?
Yeah,
Or I would also say coffee flavors could be handled within the item's own product page. I would say when you have, let's say you enter the mocha page, all right, and then you have your options below the product title. I would say you can use your flavor, you can choose your flavor
yeah.
from there, you can choose your possibilities.
It's kind of like, like whenever I've gone onto like say DoorDash or whatever, to order some like pad thai. You click pad thai, but as soon as you click that, then when you go into it, it's like, okay, do you want chicken? Do you want pork? Do you want, beef? Do you want combo? Um, it's and then that way they don't have to have five different pad thai cards on that main page of, yeah, do you want the chicken? It's all in just one option, then shared into a separate, build out.
Exactly.
Hmm. Makes sense. Um, so from what we've said, um, what do you think as a developer, like what comes to mind for what we've tried to describe?
Um, you know, I th I think that brings us into some of the next topics as well.
Yes.
But I think it's I mean, like it goes hand in hand. I mean, it's something that we have to think about, like, um, I don't want to talk about the private project that the student and I are working on too much, but one of the questions that I had asked him about was, or asked my UI team was like, hey, one of the issues that we're having right now is users are able to select an item, but they're not able to choose the sizes of it. How are we going to solve this on our cards when I'm implementing it? Because when I was looking at our Figma, it was still an issue that needed to be resolved. And I haven't looked at it today, and so I'm not sure if it was resolved, but it's, like if that was a current issue, then that's one of the big ones that we need to fix when going into, each one of these designs is making sure that we're not just solving user issues, but that it makes sense where we're placing it, you know? Um,
Yeah.
so no, I absolutely agree. It's, it's functional flows are everything. I mean, what was, what is that, the art of flow or peace, what, feng shui or something like that. Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
it's, I mean, it is a real thing. I don't know much about it, but it is a real thing. Everything does have its place. um and I think
Yes.
that brings us perfectly, and instead of jumping into design systems and component thinking, I think the perfect place to go from there is translating wireframes into clean implementations. um because I mean, your Figma is essentially, we're starting at a wireframe. A wireframe's just a blueprint. Um, your job is to build a house without changing the architect's vision. Um, common friction points. The designer didn't account for mobile, or the space looks different in code or state, like empty state or error wasn't designed at all. Talk about how you approach gaps. Do you make the call, or do you go back and ask? Um, the real answer is ask early, not after you've built it wrong. So it's, I mean, that's why there's so many questions, and I'm so thankful for the UI team that I have currently, because I mean, there's a lot of questions, and I'm so glad that they don't feel overwhelmed and bombarded. They're like, no, these are the questions that I need you to give me so I know how to actually answer, um, and to move forward. Otherwise, like, I would be continuously making the wrong mistakes. Um, and even like taking into account for like mobile, I think that was a perfect that's a perfect example for what happened when I first started working with one of my UI coders. She The project at hand for the hackathon or code jam was to design a desktop, to design a web application with different views, um, screen sizes, and one of those being a mobile view. And as a coder, um, we don't want to start with the mobile view. We do not. We do not. I mean, unless we're specifically making an app. If yes, then we'll do obviously the mobile view. But if we're designing a website, we don't want to start at the smallest screen resolution possible and then just start bouncing our way up. At least I don't. Um, I want to start around a 1440 or maybe around my screen size, and then go from there. Size down, size up. And, it's because like the screen you're working on is a lot more plausible to keep, seeing how it truly looks than using these emulators or the inspect dev tools and things like that. I mean, it's easier, and it's just, I mean, it's so much easier to, once you see the layout, be like, okay, when we make this smaller, I know that I want to use like a hamburger or a sandwich, different types of bars. Instead of just trying to make all of those decisions, there's fine detailed decisions, in the moment. Um, so I think, like, yeah, it's definitely big. Communication and talking early on is big, because once I start sharing some of these code projects, I mean, you'll definitely start to see like, what I'm talking about. Um, Anything to add on that, you two?
Yes, I would say something about the communication and early implementation. So there's a book that we are reading, like thanks to Mike that shared with us. This book, in one section, it's talking about. I don't know how have you reached that section, but
No,
like they are
no,
saying,
unfortunately, no,
uh,
not yet.
okay, so like the book says, design whatever comes to your mind early on, design it. It doesn't matter even if it is like rough paper sketches or lo-fi prototypes within Figma. Design so that you can build up on it, you know? Like if you have any issues that come early on, fix it and then code it and then go through it. Like uh, instead of trying to solve problems later on, do it at the early stages. Get it off your hand, I mean.
Oh, that makes sense. That way, whatever idea you have, and then you have your team, you can have them, you can have a third person or someone else look at your design, and then you can go from there. And then I guess maybe for developers, I'm not sure, I can't speak for them, but maybe that would be a good way of, you know, we can show you like this is like the low prototype that I'm thinking that I envisioned. And these are some of the features I'm thinking about. This is the type of animation I'm thinking about. Like what is it that I need to fix in order to get there, and in order for developers to, we can hand it off easily for them. So I think that's a good point from the book. Um, so like from early on to have that vision, and what the end goal is, so that all of us are like in the same page. Yeah.
Well, and I
I would
definitely
agree on
think
that,
that
Mike.
not only all that, but I do think that not every UI UX designer is an artist, and you don't
True.
need to
Yeah.
be an artist. You don't need to be, but I think there's a stigmatism that you have to be, and a lot of people I've noticed try to put themselves in that box. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that can be sometimes a hindrance. Not saying that,
Actually.
it's, of course, being an artist is great, and if you're doing,
Mhm.
but like it's not everybody, and even artists know how to collaborate and work with one
Mhm.
another, and I think as long as a designer you are taking inputs, whether good or bad, from the team, goes miles. At least showing, like with my current project, um, I understand that, they wanted to start doing something different to a page. However, when the team's almost fully set on a design, you don't want to start changing that, right? But
Yeah.
instead, duplicate the file so you keep the original and then make those changes. So that way you're showing the team like, oh hey, here's what I was thinking we could do on top of it, or this is what Max down down the hall, he brought this to my office the other day, and I really think it's a good idea. Or I wasn't sure how it'd pan out, but I wanted him to see it because no idea goes unheard here, and just really being able to show that, like, if you have the time, being able to do things like that. Because I've unfortunately have worked with very troublesome people throughout some of my code jams, and it just doesn't make the project fun for anybody. And I mean, it's even though it's a little code jam or a hackathon, I mean, that's going to be the real world. You don't want to work with someone who's constantly pushing back and just like, yeah, but no. Like,
Well, if I could add, sorry, the thing about between being a designer and an
yeah,
artist, it's mostly your ego in your art. It's more of you putting yourself into the whatever you're creating. So for a UI UX designer, your role, yes, it's to be creative, to be analytical, But
Yes.
who at the end of the day is it for? It's for the user. It's whatever problem that needs to be solved for the user, that's you're designing for them. You need to know why, you need to remember why it is. It's not about you, it's about the user. And then
Yep.
in order to from point A to B, you need to collaborate. Because for me, for instance, I don't know coding at all. I was told that I wouldn't need to know coding, but times have changed since I first joined my boot camp. So um, I have to suck it up. But at the same time, like I'm an artist on the side. Besides doing this, I still do my art in person. So being able to separate your inner artist and your designer, you need to know that your role isn't for your ego, it's for the user. So I get that. And it must be frustrating, but um
I
that's why
think, and I think you said it perfectly right there without even knowing it. Art is for yourself, design is for the user.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think yeah, that is said that is probably the most simplest and perfect way to say it right there. Yeah, I like that.
thanks. Yeah. I get you. I agree. And I'm sorry you um had to go through that.
No, I mean it's I don't I don't need I never need sorry from someone else unless they were the one who caused the problem. And then
Mhm.
it's also a life lesson. It teaches you the things that you do and you don't want to see in the workplace. Um,
Mhm.
like I was telling Masood, we'll get to that project. Um, I had a UI UX designer tell me it is not their job to make things look good. I,
Oh yeah.
I still
The
can't.
UI part is
I,
missing right there. Not phrase.
I'm pretty sure right here UI what users see that's kind of and
It's
how
little.
it feels to use kind of play or both parts together. So that just it still makes me laugh to this day, and like that just like and it goes to show you that like you know don't ever feel like you're crazy standing up for yourself. Sometimes
Mhm.
there's someone else crazier out there, and you just gotta you just gotta
Yeah.
go with it. Um, but with that being said, we'll move on to design systems and component thinking. Um, this is where UI, UX, and engineering actually overlap the most. A design system is basically a set of rules. These are our colors, fonts, spacings, button styles. As a dev, you implement that as reusable components. When you build a button component, once, sorry, when you build a button component once and use it everywhere, you're enforcing design consistency through the code. Um, this happens with BEM methodology, building components in React, keeping things consistent across projects. Um, it's reusable components are, I mean, top tier when it comes to projects. I mean, it saves memory, it saves space, and I mean, they're reusable. Like, I mean, for the most part, when we're going to use our sign in and our checkout modals, they're going to be pretty much the same. There's going to be a component that overlays all of the modals, and then we're just going to change the information inside each component. When we're using it in specific areas throughout our code. So how you guys design it really does play a big part because it does showcase not just once but multiple times throughout code. Um, and it just makes things easier for us on our end as well. And I know like as you guys are moving into you know, checkout and guest checkout sections of our private project, there's going to be similarities that run through those components. And, so they're going to be sharing the same exact component, the same parent, and it's just going to be passing down some children elements that are going to really make those elements shine, or those components shine on throughout our project. So I'm really excited to see what you guys put up for that, because that's going to be the next big step of getting those designed and then implementing some back end with it so we can get some carts going.
We're gonna see how it goes.
Uh,
I have a question. Um, I have yet to. I'm working with a separate team, and I'm slowly trying to. The book is gonna help me. I need to read it, but Jason uh, from this past Tuesday who presented, I was able to connect with him through LinkedIn, and I asked him a couple questions because I I know what I'm supposed to do, but not everybody knows what like understands what I'm doing. So I asked him like what are like the top three things a designer should keep in mind from the get-go. And he said interaction descriptions would be nice, expected behavior descriptions, and errors and recovery, as well as tokens. So, well, with the components and the styles of everything, uh, I know there's different formats of having like a token. What is there like? What comes to mind as a developer? Like some of like maybe the top three things that someone that you would need from that section of the UI UX.
hmm. I mean, it just really depends what we're working on, I guess. I don't know, maybe I'll be able to answer the question better as I start showing the project. So let me start showing them now, and then maybe that will start to answer some of those questions. I mean,
Okay,
like
thank you.
through each project, there's different flows or workflows that I've tried to implement, and I have taken the leading role on a majority of these projects. You know, I don't mind doing it. I actually really enjoy doing it. I have a lot of experience with my background in operations and sales. Um,
Hmm.
so, I know how to put a team together and I know how to make it work. And I'm not going to be sitting there saying that I know everything and this is the way it needs to be done. I'm going to say, hey, I do know a good bit. I think this is how we should do it. What do you guys think? Like, if you have better ideas, let me hear it. Because, like, if that idea is better, then hell yeah, let's do that. Like, I mean, you're telling me that you could optimize this and make it easier, then let's do it. Why would I be like, no, it's silly. Um,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, like sometimes you do get in a group where like there's people who they think taking lead means being aggressive and pushing their way across the platform, and if they don't get their way, they react poorly, and
Hmm.
it's unfortunate. Um, but it's learning how to work with those types of people or staying your hand and keeping your cool, um,
Hmm.
which will really go miles for you. That it's just something I've learned over the years of just getting old, I guess. um,
But my question was like, what are some things UI UX designers should like keep in mind for the like the how do you say it um for the handoff of information that you need.
yeah, yeah. And so that's I guess I was just kind of using that as a preamble into pulling up the project and then to start kind of going into that. My bad. Because so
No
like
worries.
as I move through these projects, and the reason I don't want to answer like immediately is because like I feel like it's it's deeper than that, at least from my side of things as a coder. So like for this first project, we didn't have a UI UX team. It was three coders and two data science kids. Um, and you, can you can see the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, we can.
So let's see. Oh snap. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Perfect. So we started with a wireframe, and obviously none of us are designers at all. We're just like, I believe the challenge was we had to either design a budget app or create a spending personality test. It was the hackathon or code jam is around, yeah, just spending. Um, Instantly, everybody was wanting, especially the data science, because they were wanting to do a budget app, and yeah, it sounded kind of cool, and yes, it would have been a great way to showcase, different some code, but I wanted to do something fun. It was my first team project, and I started talking with the team. I was like, I guarantee the other teams are going to be doing the budget app, guarantee it. And sure enough, they did. Um, but I was like, why not do something fun? We can still showcase all of our abilities, and if anything, if you're telling me that's going to be a little bit harder for you data science kids to pull some of the data we need for this, then we should definitely do it because like it sounds like they're taking the easy routes if they do the budget app. Um, so I talked my way into getting us all onto the spending personality. I think my thing to get it through for everybody was what was it? Do you guys remember those BuzzFeed quizzes or those Chive.com or the Harry Potter HarryPotter.com and you take all those quizzes. Um, so we started thinking about that, and so we started pulling some images, maybe using dollar bills as cards, and then we started pulling color palettes. The book that I gave you, guys, I started reading into and realized, getting color palettes and generating different scales, so later on through the code, we don't have to start wondering, okay, well, the green that we really wanted actually isn't working. Okay, well, what green are we going to use now? Don't need to even think about that. I got 9 different greens to choose from. Um, we did color scales from, your blacks, your whites, different, accent colors. I mean, we started pulling everything. Um, but then we kind of started coming into the to do, So I guess the first project doesn't really answer the question either, because we all just kind of pitched in together and we're just like, yeah, sure, this works. And this is just how we divvy things out. Um, we did all of this in vanilla, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Um, and yeah, we just went to town. I ended up doing it a good bit of this mobile too. Sophia really killed it. She's the one who linked together the JavaScript itself. As you see here. Then we just took all of the data and we linked it on the back end, or linked it through JavaScript, I should say, not the back end. Um, and once we had it linked to each card, eventually it would generate a title of what kind of spender you were, an image, and a description of it. Um, but as we move to Timekeeper, this is where we got our UI UX designers, and I think this hopefully will answer your question. So, as I was mentioning, when we first kind of got started with this, um, so this was the desktop version. However, we were receiving this first. And like, at first I was like, okay, this is what they had for us. I was like, okay, like, sure, cool, like looks pretty good. Maybe they're gonna build out the desktop version, things like that, And I was like, all of us approved it, and then they came to us with this, and it was like, okay, again, yeah, that's cool, but what are we doing? Because like obviously things are gonna change at bigger screen views. we obviously knew that we could start getting some things coded. Um, but I believe like what it starts on like a Friday, and I had work Saturday, Sunday. We get a Friday night. So I even told them I wasn't going to start coding till Monday. I have Mondays and Tuesdays off. Um, so this was all done by Monday. But we butted heads and had a bit of an argument at the very beginning. I think she felt a little frustrated that I was pushing back in terms of like, yeah, cool, but I need desktop, dude. What are you doing? And I think from the prompt that was given to us, um, it was shaky at best. So um, I think there was also a bit of miscommunication there of them thinking that we only needed a mobile version, where in reality we needed a desktop and a mobile version because we needed to show different screen sizings. Um, but once we figured that out, I mean, she really came together and put I mean, both of the UIs, they put this together really, really well. Um, but yeah, when it came to times, like when designers are saying, okay, yeah, well, here, this is what's done, and trying to hand me something, and there can sometimes be a butting of heads of, yeah, well, I need this because and this is why it makes sense for coding. It might make sense to you
Mhm.
guys, but from
I
a coder standpoint, we
have a
might push
question.
back. Does that answer it?
Yeah, it does make sense. I do have a question. Um, because with my team right now, I created like a fig jam type of thing. I like made it to like I tried to stimulate it as best as I could to kind of stimulate it as if we're in like a real workplace. So I wanted to get to know everybody. I even asked, because in Triple Ten they made you do like the personality test and everything, and I put on the board each person to have like their own profile, like what are some things we need to know about you, or what will be helpful for you. Um, I'm one to talk, but I forgot to answer some of those questions myself. But I put it there, and I don't know if in the beginning for a team, if because I know communication is key, and being able to understand people's expectations across the different sides of the team and everything. I did do like a brainstorm thing. I said anything's possible. Don't think about if it's possible as a coder or if it's impossible as a UI UX designer or what's impossible for your skills. It's just whatever you want this to end up becoming, just put it on a sticky note. Just like throw it all in there. And then I used AI to like reorganize that. And I did individual like meetings with each member. It's not a lot of people. It's just the three of us right
Yeah.
now. But meeting of like, would do you think as uh, to have like something where everyone when we went through the education part of everything, I remember that they taught us to always start with a desktop though. That's another point I wanted to say. So maybe um I don't know. So yeah, just wanted to add those type of things. Like I don't know if that's a good idea as a team to just have an activity so that maybe that could lessen the friction.
Yeah. No, no, absolutely. I mean, communication's key. I mean, as long as you communicate, I mean, you know, everybody will be happy. I think that's where the biggest breakdown is, especially I mean, in today's world. I mean, in every aspect is, communication. I mean, if people don't talk, if they don't tell one another why they're doing something or what they need, um, it's just going to break down. And having a good leadership from the get-go is everything.
when can you repeat that again? I'm so sorry. My computer went and I didn't catch that.
Yeah, no, you're totally fine. I was saying, you know, having communication's everything. Um, I mean, if you don't have it, I mean, you're gonna fail. I mean, great leadership knows that as well, and they'll communicate the problems. They'll communicate, I mean, everything to you guys. You know, and as a team, if you're unable to talk to one another, you know, you're not going to be able to put together the finished project, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, yeah, just always making sure that you have great communication, I think is just the best way to always go about it.
I agree.
I am looking for
100%
something
agreed.
that I cannot find it. Countdown view. Yes. Okay. This should be it. What is going on? I am blind.
Everything okay?
Yes.
Masood,
I'm trying to pull this up for
did
you
you
guys.
want okay. In the meantime, Masood, is there something you wanted to add to that? I think.
So when you previously talked about this fig jam and people throwing in their ideas as sticky notes, I really agree on that one actually. But always it's a good idea to keep in mind the controlled environment and having the impact of the leadership right there, so things won't get messy and chaotic.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
There we go.
But like I'm pretty sure as all of us, we get through our programs and we get through our projects. Ideation is an awesome thing, according to me. Like when you throw out your ideas, when you let go of the brain, you know. For example, for designers, it can be sketches. That really helps. That really helps. I wouldn't know it's gonna have a great impact as much as this, but yeah, at the end of the day, it does. So yes,
Oh, that looks. Yes, I agree. Um, yeah, I think, especially if it's like your first project, you know, you're excited and you want to be part of the group, and you want to be able to show your what you've done on your portfolio. So I guess that can also help, you know, just let out all that energy and then focus on what needs to be done. But um, that prototype looks really nice. It's very clean and smooth.
Yeah, I accidentally closed up my code and so it broke all of the images and the sound. But
It's okay.
now it's back. It's back. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, Greedy and Varsha. And then that was Timekeeper. Then we had Chronicle. This project, don't know how we won. Which they say that we won, but they never sent us our prize. Um, our school also just like ripped away all of our code jams without saying a word. Um,
Mm.
so thanks for not sending me my prize for winning. It's been over 2 months now because the last one was in February. So
What's the price?
3 months now. Yeah, it's actually been 3 months since I've won and still haven't got the prize. I don't know. It's supposed to be a surprise.
Okay.
But yeah, they haven't sent anything. And then yeah,
Huh?
I'm just yeah,
What's that?
we're streaming, so we're not going to get too much into it. But yeah,
Yeah, it's okay.
they're a little frustrating at the moment. Our third project. This is where someone told me that it's not their job to make things look good as a UI developers,
Okay.
and yeah, that is
Oh,
just frustrating.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
it's not your
here we
fault.
go.
Is it your fault? Um, but let's see if I can get this stuff to work. I did get in. I was telling them the other day I got an email about my servers possibly shutting down because this project was again 3 months ago, and I created a free account to get this stuff done.
It looked really nice.
There we go. Yeah, now we're in here. It looks like, yeah, the back end's not loading out some of the images, but essentially this project was supposed to be like a way for people to connect. That we made a shitty version of, like, if Facebook and Instagram and MySpace had a little tiny baby or something like that, we called it Chronicle. It was just a way for, to chronologically organize dates. You could add friends, have a prompt of the day. They'd have friendship quizzes, random memories. As you see, we didn't get a lot of the things programmed out. Um, uh, one of our, one of our coders, because of the UI person who was being such a Grinch at the beginning, um, she pushed away one of the coders. So the coder decided to just step away completely before we actually got our hands on things. Then we had our second
Oh.
coder. He designed the basic layout of the dashboard. He did, this header, prompt of the day, made the friends box. Nothing was really functional, except maybe typing in here. Um, but yeah, that was about it. I think he also made it so you could click through these. But that
Oh,
was about
nice.
all. My job was to do everything else. I made the home page, or like the login page, did the back end for it. I linked the two together so it would do authorization to register users and sign in, as well as save the sign in, as you can still see. Um, I also made it so you could upload images and text. I made it so you could actually add friends. Um, I think forgot what the other names were, but I made a couple of accounts, and yeah. So adding friends does work. You just, of course, have to go to the other profile to still add it. So maybe that's why, because some of the memories are linked to friends and they're no longer friends, and that is an issue that I should probably look into if I continue working on this. Is if you are no longer friends, does it delete the memory, or where does the stored image get placed? That is a good.
Maybe you can have
See it
a feature where it says you want to keep it or you don't want to keep it. You give the user an
exactly.
option.
Exactly. Um, didn't get messages worked out. Um, obviously didn't wire up that yet, but we got it to this point, and somehow we got the dub on it. It was a lot. It was a lot of work on my side of things, but we got her done.
That's great.
I don't think the UI
That's
team was
amazing.
a little too happy that I changed the name. I changed the name like right at the end. Um,
What was the other name?
oh gosh, I forget what it was. Let me see if I can find it. It was terrible. It was horrible. It was such a, yeah, just terrible.
It's okay. You don't. If it's too much, you don't have to remember
No,
it. It's okay.
I want
Chronicle's
to,
a good name.
because it was silly. It was just really
Oh,
silly, and
Really sounds nice to the ear, in my opinion. I really like it.
I mean, sometimes certain apps are remembered because they're silly. So that's kind of like a marketing thing too. The Chronicle is good.
what did what did they call it? It was funny. Full circle.
Um.
It
Oh,
full
I see. I
circle.
see.
Yeah, it feels, your memories, your circle. It feels like you're about to take a loved one to a retirement facility. Like, that's the name of the place. Like, you're dropping them off and not going to see them for a long, long time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Kind of feels. It does feel wholesome, but does it, keep? Does it stay in people's memory? Will it be something that
oh, maybe I'm just a little,
someone?
maybe I'm a little biased because, like, my mom, she
I
runs
mean, Chronicle.
assisted living facilities, and it gives off
Oh.
assisted living facility vibes. Like, it really
No, I
does.
can see it. I can see that, especially the logo. No, I see it. No. I see that. It could also be, yeah. I think Chronicle is good. It's simple, it's straightforward, and then it makes you wonder what it is about. So
Yeah, and then the design team, they just
it's
started going
good.
crazy with how it could look. And I was like, I appreciate it, but do you understand that I am down two coders and I have to do all of this by myself now, including backend? It ain't happening, bro. Like,
Uh,
so I did what I could, you know.
So would a UI UX designer, with them knowing at least a little bit of code like CSS and HM, I can't even say it.
Well,
Sorry.
HTML
Just
or
knowing a little bit.
Tailwind. Tailwind is also a good one to know.
I've never heard of that one.
Mhm.
Tailwind. What
Tailwind.
about JavaScript?
JavaScript's good. Your bread and butter is gonna like React and Mern. Like Mern is like your go-to. Stands for Mongo,
Mhm.
Express, React, and Node. Those are your top four go-tos
Okay.
for coding. Um,
Okay.
yes, learn JavaScript. I mean, yeah, you could learn Python, you can learn C++. I mean, it really depends on what you want to do. And I mean, once you learn
Okay.
how to code, I mean, every language is generally the same, with like a little key quirk or two. Um, so yeah, it's all consistent of if statements and for loops and yada yada yada.
Okay. So would I, because I was considering as a UI UX designer to put myself, because I know I have a QA person in my team, and I didn't even know what an API was until I met them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, no worries at all.
um, I
I'm
want
not
to be able to like put myself in other people's shoes so that it's easier for everybody. So,
Heck yeah. Yeah, and then I even plan on doing that third video I had this past week. After this, I'll probably take like a 10-minute
mhm.
break or so. But it's going to be
Oh my
again on
gosh.
API, REST, and state management. I know you were there last week, but if you want to stay for that one again, you're more than welcome to.
Sure. Okay.
Um, let me see. I think
What do you think about Swift, Apple's language?
Apple's language.
Swift, yeah, Apple's
Is
the
can
programming
you
language that they use.
Oh, I didn't even know they had their own language.
um yes and no. Um, Really, what it is just needing those devices. Um, You can still use React. You can still use all of those things. It's really based off of what you want your app to be built on and what that store accepts. And with today's age, you can typically take like if I coded something for an Android, like if I used React or React Native and code, React, an app for their store, I could take all of my code and put it through a program that would shift it over to the necessary material for an Apple Store program. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of like tweaking here and there, but I mean it's generally pretty easy. It's not too big of a deal. Um,
Hmm.
I'm
Oh,
But
thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, it's something I worked on, worked with doing my internship. Although short-lived, because
mm,
they just disappeared, kept refactoring and reworking things, and very low communication. But it was still it was
mm,
a very great app. I loved working on it every second. The team was really cool, very nice, very polite, and I think we made a real world impact with it, and it was, overall a great experience. Um, you know, I think to wrap everything up, at least for this one, just some common UX mistakes that, devs can make. No feedback on user actions, like no loading spinner, no success message, error messages that say
Loading.
something went wrong and nothing else. Do need to be a bit more specific with those messages. Um, like missing the at symbol in your email or the punctuation. Now, there's certain commands that we can do to make sure that's implemented, but being a little bit more descriptive never hurts, so that the way they know what's going on. Forms that clear on submit failure, making user retype everything. That can be a big old bummer, because when a
Oh.
coder submits, um, it's supposed to refresh and clear the modal. However, of course, if you get something wrong, you don't want to have to retype everything, and so making sure that that doesn't happen. Mobile as an afterthought instead of designing for it first. Um, yes, again, it shouldn't be an afterthought at all. However, making sure that, you're designing what needs to be designed first. Like, I don't want to design the mobile view of my desktop first, but if we're making a mobile app, then yeah, I'll design that first. Um, Assuming the user knows what to do next, no clear call to action. Um, that's about all I'll say. 'Cause, yeah, I don't want to reference the project too much. Um,
It's okay.
yeah, just because we're streaming. But yeah, it's yeah. I think there's always mistakes, but again, I think at the end of the day, communication, communication, communication. It's just like any relationship. I mean, even the ones inside your home. If you don't communicate, of course someone's not going to hear you. Of course they're going to do the wrong thing because they are not on the same page. But, you know, um, that's about all I
Um,
have really
I
on
have
UI
a question.
UX. Yeah, what do you got?
So did you use Discord as like the like what were like some of the systems you guys used, what you used in previous code jams for communication or like ID? Because
Discord.
like I did the Discord. Okay.
Discord.
Well,
Yeah.
what about I hear people use Jira. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, or some companies
I
use
I haven't
like
I
Meet.
haven't used it. I've used Slack before with previous companies that I've worked with.
Mhm.
I mean, it's all just preference. I mean, it they're all the same app pretty much. They all do similar things. It's really what do you like to use. And I mean, there's going to be times where you hit a company and they're using something that you might not like to use, but tough cookies, that's the company you work for now. Um, I personally like Discord. I use it a lot. I use it for gaming. I use it for work. I use it for studying. I use it for everything. I mean, it's got everything that I need right now. I mean, it just makes sense to me. Um, so I mean, it's
Okay.
like I said, it's a personality thing. I think it's the biggest thing. Um, like I said, my last company they used Slack, and it was all
Mhm.
right. I mean, it has its perks and it has its downfalls. Um, but yeah,
Feel like
teach.
Discord is more affordable for students, for us, for because you can have the chats here, and we can hop on a voice message call anytime. So it totally beats the other ones, I feel. So thank you so much for hosting this, and um for you and any other organizer of this group. Really appreciate you doing this, because I felt like I felt more, how do you say, isolated when joining the boot camp, because I felt too shy. I don't know why. Doing other parts of the activities they had, and then being the only one in my household doing this type of tech job. So I appreciate you having this idea, and doing all this for everybody. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. I'm definitely someone who likes to take the initiative. You know, I don't. I'm not going to talk too much crap on my boot camp. I mean, they did give me they gave me a lot of knowledge. You know, it's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
theory. Um, it's a lot of theory, and that's really it is theory. You know, I feel like there's also some holes in that theory, um, and that's kind of where I want to kind of come in and take over is fill those holes, fill the gap. The things that I notice in the real world that are actually happening today that aren't being discussed because they're still just, they're just trying to give you as much information to get you through the schooling as fast as possible because, well, that's their job. Um, I don't like that they took away, code jams and haven't been saying anything about it. It's unfortunate because that is one of the few ways that students have truly been able to get application practice. um, there is not a lot of application in boot camps, and that is the sorry, unfortunate truth. It's not just mine; it's a lot of them. There are
I do.
some that do better jobs, but I wish ours did.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to terms of writing algorithms, that is a massive part of a software engineer's job. Understanding data
Mm-hmm.
structures and how to write these algorithms. And they breeze through them very, very quickly. Um, and again, I understand that they're trying to give you as much knowledge as possible, but as they're teaching new knowledge, they should be throwing wrenches in in your, hey, I need you to go answer these leak code problems, or we need you to answer these problems for us. Like, sure, they give it to you every now and then, or at the end of, like, you'll read some theory and then here's one or two problems on it, but you'll never see it again. Um, and that's kind of,
Mm-hmm.
what where, like, I just want to kind of come in and start helping people realize that, like, there is a community out there. You're not alone. It's Everyone feels this way, that they aren't as experienced as they want to be, and that's okay. It's all about practice, practice, practice. Find the community that you want to be in, find that group, and push and pull on each other. Like, hey, if there's a project, don't be afraid to speak up and speak out and be like, hey, I need someone to help me with this. Who wants to kick ass and take names? Let's build something together. Like, hell yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I'm trying to start something like this. It really just started as a place for me and my homie to do that once a week of just chat with each other. But I thought about it. Why not open this to everybody? Why not build a little community and hopefully I can get better at doing this. In general, being on camera and chatting um, but yeah, this is, I'm really excited to see how this turns out and where it goes. I recommend anybody who's a self-starter or go-getter who's, willing to, you know, to take accountability for one's actions and understand that what you're doing is it's all on you, then yeah, boot camp's the way to go. Like, understand that there might not be a lot of help, but you're going to kick ass and take names anyway. But finding that community that can be there to give you that help, absolutely awesome, man. And I just wish that there was something like this when I was going through the program. Um, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that I can be the one that is there helping everybody. So I mean, anytime you ever have questions or issues or you don't know what to do, even if you just want help building your resume or getting that straightened out, I mean, shoot, just let me know. I just like helping people. It's probably like the one few thing that I really do enjoy in life is being able to help and teach others. So I'm surprised I didn't just become a teacher. Beyond me. I should have done it.
Have your own course. What to do after boot camp,
What to do? Build
so you can have
projects.
a little.
Yeah,
You
I
can do
mean,
a little section lessons of what you can do after you do boot camp. You graduated. What do you do now? So.
yeah, 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 absolutely. I'll add that to the list. Yeah, because I've had a couple. I know
Okay, really? Oh.
Yeah, Masood reached out, and so did CJ. So I definitely want to make sure I covers everyone. Week 4 is already spoken for, but maybe I'll be able to talk about because that's an easy one. I mean, we can even
Mm.
shoot. How about how this?
I
Are you sticking around for the third video today?
I can. I'll need like maybe more than 10 minutes for a second to
Yeah.
get sorted in my end. But sure, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't have work till 4, so let's wrap this up, and
Okay.
and remind me about it. We'll talk about it at the end of the next video, because since you guys
Okay.
aren't coders, I'm going to speed run through all of that information, and for the next video, we'll chat about that, and then first 3 weeks are wrapped up, and they'll be on YouTube, and I'll be ready for week 4.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, yeah, thank you guys for showing up again. This was UI UX and software engineering. If you guys have questions or comments, just let me know, and we'll take care of you later. I'll see you in video 3.
Bye.
Appreciate it.